Welcome to Cafdil Healthcare here on Cafdil TV. Today on Cafdil Healthcare, we are discussing vaccine preventable diseases, the impact of the cold chain system. Most of the times, we speak against vaccine, especially when there is a new vaccine coming out. An example is the COVID. COVID came and there were vaccines for that, but most of us spoke against it. At the end, we took it, and some complained a lot about it. But so today, exactly what we're going to do, you are going to know the importance of vaccines and what diseases that vaccine can prevent. I've been joined here in the studio by two professionals from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Abu Kwabena is a Senior Disease Control Officer, and also Edmond Echampong, Health Promotion Officer from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Gentlemen, you are welcome. Thank you. And let me start with you, Echampong.
Hello.
We've heard vaccine, and so forth. What are vaccine and what are vaccine preventable diseases, and why, are they so important to address in this?
Okay, thank you very much, listeners, viewers. When you talk of vaccine is the weakest form of disease organism that causes disease, which is being introduced into the system, our body, that our body will develop antibodies against that organism. It means when your body develops antibodies against that weakening organism which has been introduced into your system, it means the immunity that you are going to get will prevent you from any time that organism come into your body or introduce or any way that comes into your system. You have antibodies already to defeat that organism that have made you get immunity against this particular disease. That's why we say vaccine. So the vaccine will give you immunity against a particular disease. Now, the vaccine preventable disease, it means when you get this particular vaccine into your system, that means the disease that is supposed to get it into your system, you have now immunity against it. So you are not going to get this particular disease. That means you have prevented that particular disease from getting into your system or being sick or get any organism to attack you for you to get weak from that particular vaccine. That's why you say these are the vaccines preventable diseases. So anytime you get a vaccine, it means you are getting immunity against diseases. It means diseases cannot get into your system. So it means if a community is there and people are being vaccinated, it means the individual is not exposed to diseases. It means there's not going to be outbreak of diseases to that particular community. So when it happens that the individual can get health, can able to get whatever you want to do, can work, and then productivity to the community becomes what? Higher productivity to the community.
So does that mean if you are vaccinated, you are not going to contract any disease?
Yes, thank you very much.
Is it forever?
Yes, some of the vaccines depends, as we are, the conversation is going to tell. Some vaccines have duration. It expires before you have to go for another shot to boost the immune system. So if you have that particular vaccine against that particular disease, that's what I'm saying. We have the disease causing the organism, which has been introduced into your body for the body to know antibodies against it. So if a particular disease, you don't have that immunity or you don't have that antibodies in your system, and your system get exposed to that disease-causing organism, it can make you fall sick. So the vaccines are not automatically that you have been vaccinated for a particular vaccination or you are going to get all diseases immune. No, that particular vaccine that you receive is going to give you immunity against that particular disease.
Okay. All right, Abu, so how do you want to add something to?
I can say something small. But if there is a question, you can throw the question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to highlight some few areas that my brother has already spoke about. we are saying vaccine preventable disease, the impact of the cold chain system. Okay, so my brother has already explained vaccines. I want to add something small to that. I would say they are laboratory preparations. Vaccines are laboratory preparations, and I'm saying laboratory preparations because the disease-causing organisms have been taken through the laboratory preparations. We just don't weaken them. Some of the disease-causing organisms are such that we take a section of them. We can't take a whole organism. We take a section of them. Some of them too, we purify them and pick their toxins. You see, tetanus like this, if you mean to use a whole cell of the organism, but it will go to either bring the signs and symptoms of the disease that the vaccine intend to protect you. Yeah, so we use a whole bodies of the disease-causing organism that has been weakened. Okay, now we are saying that we've gotten the vaccine. How are we going to maintain their potency to be able to get the right amount of the immunity we want for our people to be protected? That is where the cold chain system comes in.
I'll come to the cold chain system. I want us to deal with the vaccine itself.
Okay.
So when we come to the cold chain system itself.
Okay.
So let me ask.
Okay. Then let me land on that one, on the vaccines. So we have live attenuated ones, when we have inactivated ones. Whichever way it takes, they are all forms of the vaccines. So on the screen, vaccine preventable diseases, you could see some of the diseases on the screen that if you take vaccines for them, we have measles, we have hepatitis B, and we also have human papilloma virus, we have yellow fever disease, we have pneumococca. There are a lot of them. We have as many as 17 to 20 different vaccines. So if we are able to get the vaccines at their right amount and at their right space of time, then it is expected that you have built antibodies against it. And my brother said antibodies formation is very specific, and I want to highlight here. You can't take one vaccine for the rest of the vaccine. If you take one vaccine, like measles that we are seeing, it means that you develop antibodies specifically for measles and not any other disease-causing organism. So if you have protection for measles, the second episode, because you have the antibodies built already, you are protected against measles. But you can get human papilloma virus, you can get yellow fever, you can get, any other disease that you don't have immunity against it. So vaccine specifically, that is what I can see on it.
Okay, so when a child is born,
yes,
how many vaccines are administered?
Okay, with time it increases, the number of vaccines increases. And let me also say this, you can't prepare a vaccine for a disease-causing organism that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Yes, it is the disease-causing organism that will use them for the vaccine. So if they don't exist, how can you use them? So with time, others come to add on and that. So looking at it, as it stands now, in the EPI, we have close to 14 different vaccines for a child that is born today.
14?
Yeah, 14 different vaccines. And you take them on different days. You're not going to get it at a go. You take them for a different day. Some of them, you go for like 3 times for Penta, for OPV. Yeah, you at least get 4 or 3 different occasions. And for vaccination, our minimum number of days, I'm saying this because sometimes some people walk into the facility trying to access the, we call it CWC, Child Welfare Clinic, trying to access the services. But you pick the child health records card and you have realized that he has taken the vaccine on this date, the date to be recorded. So when you want to calculate and see whether it has elapsed the 1 month, or in our system we have it as 28 days. If it is 28 days today, then you can give maybe the second dose or any other thing you can do. But if it is even 27 days, you can't do it.
That is the day before.
You can't do it. I'm saying it because it has to be 28 days or more.
Okay.
So the minimum means that if it is 27 days plus maybe 4 hours square, it's not still up to the time you took the first one. And then for the maximum, even though we don't encourage it, yes, you can even get more than the days you came for. I'm trying to say that you can get 28 days, 38 days, or even more. Then you can come. If you come, we can still give you the second dose or the next dose that you require.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is it.
Then tell us, how does this VPDs affect both individuals and communities, especially in developing regions?
Okay. I remember when my brother was speaking, he highlighted the fact that the moment you get vaccinated, if possible, for all the existing vaccines, all the existing vaccines,
okay.
Yeah, if you are protected, it means that you will not get sick of any of those diseases again. Some of us, we are working like this just because we have gotten those vaccines. You understand? So individually, if you get the vaccines, you are protected. And then at large, at the community level, everybody has been vaccinated. It's the same thing there. They are healthy. Their health are protected and maintained. And yes, you are able to do every work, and you won't have outbreaks. Okay, you won't have outbreaks that you have to limit your movement. We have to close down your community and then take a whole hospital to your place. And it's frustrating. But if you're able to take the vaccines, yeah, all these things will be dealt with.
You feel okay? You
Yes,
feel comfortable?
yeah, and then
Yeah,
you are even
those
confident.
things, yeah, to enter into certain places. But Eddie, currently, which VPDs are most prevalent in our country, and how do they impact, both children and adults?
Yes, thank you very much. If you look at our system, as Abu was saying, when a child is giving birth, we have that childhood vaccine that the person have to take. Yes, as the person is growing up, vaccines also come for the person to top up with this. For the childhood, the vaccines like the polio, the rota that he mentioned, the measles, that one category comes at the childhood. So the child will receive these things to protect him, the baby from getting exposed to diseases. And then when you come at the age when you grow, that's where people have to come in for this Hep B, Hep C vaccine, and then other mumps, and then those things. You have to come for those vaccines. So as age is going, and as, let's say, the world is also moving, disease comes, like what COVID came. We have to quickly go to laboratory and develop vaccine for the COVID. So as it comes like that, that one too, we will look at the age, particularly that we use to give those things. So when it happens to be adult, we categorize that adult have to come for this particular vaccines. And then you see COVID age from 18, were those giving that introduction with the vaccines. And then when we receive the vaccines, at least we've controlled the COVID to the system. There's under control. Not just that the COVID is no more, but it's under control. So with these vaccines, it helps the country or the developed countries to be safe or for disease outbreaks to come down.
Oh. So let me ask you, Abu, how does vaccine work in preventing these diseases?
Okay, so like we just said, if you introduce the disease-causing organisms into the body spends time to develop the antibodies. Okay, so they are the weapons against the disease, the antibody formation. And let me say this, there's what we call antibody titer.
Antibody what?
Titer.
Okay.
Yeah, it means that the building block of the antibodies. Yes. So after taking the vaccines at the right amount, and their right space of time. We expect that we try to find out the antibody titer formation. Sometimes, for some disease and from the manufacturer, the specifics are that maybe after this number of years or this period, go for a booster dose. It is expected that during that time, the antibody titer might have dropped drastically. So you have to get a booster to be able to increase the antibody or the immunity level that you have. Some group of people are at risk, so sometimes we end up reducing their period that, oh, maybe because you are a high-risk group, like health workers and then those who work at the vets and all those things. We are saying this because they are exposed to a lot of, risk. So they are expected to actually have a very short duration to get booster doses for some diseases. Yes. So if you get it vaccinated, then you build antibody titer, then you are good to go. So that is how vaccines work. And let me also say this. You can get a wild form of the disease-causing organism into your system by accident or whatever means. But in this case, it is 50-50. It's either the disease will kill you or you survive. And so if you are able to survive, it means that the body too has become aware of that specific exposure you had. So they have spent their time to prepare the same antibody like what the vaccine would have done. Okay, so you can't get a second episode again, and that is also a form of immunity or protection that you get. The wild one is 50-50. You must survive, you must die. So if you survive, you have immunity. But the question is, what if you don't survive? You get it? And the vaccines...
But the laboratory one, yes,
yes,
not
that
50-50.
is... It's not 50-50. That one day, it has been taken through scientific preparations.
Okay.
So that is why we weaken some of them. If you could remember, I said that some of them, you can't take a whole cell to prepare the vaccine.
Yes.
Some of them, you can't take even the wings to do anything. You have to purify them and pick small. If you don't take them through the laboratory preparations or within the specific scientific preparations, it means that you might end up harming the individual than helping them. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. So that is how come we take them through the laboratory preparations too. You see, the concept is that the body should be able to become aware of the fact that there is this disease-causing organism in the environment. That is all. You get it?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So why is it crucial to ensure that vaccines are administered to as many people as possible, particularly in the face of this rising vaccine hesitancy?
Okay, so you see, there are two groups here. Now, me here as a disease control officer, I'm preaching that, yes, I have come to know that most diseases has come to eradication level. Others are at elimination level, and others are under control. It is not because of any magic, but it's because of an intervention like vaccinations that were implemented. And so there are also other groups there. Some of them, we call them bioterrorists. The bio is from biological agents, and the terrorists that we all know, they fight. Yeah, so they would want to use this disease-causing organism to fight their opponent. You get it?
Yeah.
Very good. They want to use this biological agent to fight their opponent. So they will create an atmosphere that those theories, some of them are like, if you're a woman and you take vaccines, over a period of time, you become infertile, you can't produce, okay? And then when you look at it closely, it is not today that vaccine started. And our women, they're still fertile, and they're even producing more. You understand? They will even tell you that, those theories, they will even tell you that if you take if you continue to take vaccinations, particularly they say Africans, you will not be intelligent. And some of these things, they are fallacies. It's not true.
Yeah, mate, eh?
They are mythologies. They are not true. Because look at how intelligent you are, and look at how smart you are. But you took all the vaccines, right? If you can do something that the white will not even understand, the only thing is that we don't have the access or the opportunities, you see. But we are so smart, we are intelligent, and some of these things are fallacies or they are mythologies. They are using it against you so that you will not take the vaccines and become vulnerable. So that when they throw in their weapons with those bioterrorist kind of something, they can easily help you. They can collapse your community. They can have access to whatever they want. So the duty of the public health system is there to draw people's attention to the fact that all these things are mythologies. And fortunately for us too, and now it is not difficult to get documents to read on some of these diseases. So a lot of people have gotten to know that, yes, it is true. And you see, most diseases that were there, some like anthrax and then smallpox and other things, through this particular interventions, they are no more there, so they have been eradicated.
Yeah, for anthrax, it's been years.
Yes, so they have been eradicated. Not quite long ago, some diseases like guinea worm and other things will have gone. It depends on the intervention and its implementations. So we expect that going ahead, some of the diseases we are hearing of them today, another group of people will also be on a search like this. They will just hear the name, but they will not see some for themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that is how come we are able to convince or put confidence in people to get the vaccinations.
Eddie, in your opinion, what are some of the biggest barriers to widespread vaccination, and how can we address them?
Yes, if you come to our system, especially like the African settings, we have so many barriers that is leading to people not getting vaccine. Like let's take the system like the rural areas where we can go for vaccine, and then where the movement from moving the vaccine to a particular place, it becomes problem, a challenge. Because the vaccines are said that they have to maintain in a temperature. So if the distance happen from that place where we are going is long, that means the potency of the drug will be what? Will be compromised. So we will not get there to give a correct vaccine to the people. Such places are like people, like what he said, the hesitancy. There are people telling people, if you go and you take the vaccine, this thing happens to you. You can't grow, you become different. And those fallacy or those beliefs is also hindering people for them to go for this vaccine. So leaving people to expose to so many diseases. Now, if you come to a system like this, money, financial constraints, like as I said, the Hep B vaccine is not free. People have to come before. Yeah, it's not free in the system. You have to pay money before they give you the jab, and then you get protection against
All
it.
the three.
All the three. And then you have to receive them even in month after month. Yes. So every jab that you go depends money. So people find it very difficult because of the financial constraint. They don't even go for at all, leaving people to be exposed to these diseases. So we have a lot. Like come to our refrigerating, considering like the power system controlling our fridges. If the fridge goes off, it means the cold chain will be break. Yes, so all these things are barriers to these vaccinations.
Then the doomsday is really disturbing.
Of course.
All right. Having said that, then let's come to the cold chain system, and I want you to explain what is cold chain system and why is it critical to the success of vaccination programs.
Thank you very much. When you say cold chain system, it means we want our vaccine to have potency in it. The efficacy of the vaccine should be maintaining its potency from the manufacturer to the consumer. It means there is a system that, or a rules that we use to maintain that vaccine. So from the manufacturer to the consumer, if any of those rules being break, it means the potency of the drug is no more there. So the cold chain is like the temperature of the vaccine should be maintained from where it's being manufactured to the country. Let's take it. Ghana, we don't manufacture vaccines here. We go for it from outside.
But when COVID came, we heard that Noguchi came out with some vaccines. That is what we heard outside there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. Vaccine just don't come into the system just like that. It has to go through a lot of things. So some of them have not been in the EPI stream that I can confidently say we have vaccines for them. Yeah, so we can only talk about those that we have it in the system and then they are in practice. The latest one that joined, should I say the latest? No, it came immediately before the COVID came. That is Mosquito. It is a malaria vaccine for children under 5. Yes. So I had opportunity to join the team that worked on, and then after the period, it took us 3 years to do the field trial and other things, and then the findings actually confirmed that it is helping the children to reduce the number of malaria cases among children, and then even death. So it has also been enrolled into the EPI, and so now if a child is born and then he get the right age, then we start giving, and then they'll be protected against it. So for the Noguchi thing, yes, it could be they started something. Maybe it is still under pipeline, so that maybe with time we'll get it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. But you were saying something.
Yes, as I was saying, the vaccines that we import from the country, it has to maintain its cold chain. As I was saying, it comes with rules. So let's say government going for vaccine from outside. When it comes from airport, we have to put it in a cold room. So it means from the manufacturer to the nation, there still have to be the temperature, and then the vial, this thing that we have to use it for the vaccine to maintain its potency. So before it gets to the district level and then to the consumer, these rules, if it didn't break, that means the potency of the drug will lose. Like you go for a vaccine from your region, let's say the chip compound, they don't have the fridges to keep them at their level. So definitely they will go for the district own, and then before they go there, we have something called vaccine carriers. These vaccine carriers is like an ice chest. Yes, it keeps the vaccine warm. Yes. So with that one, we put in ice blocks to maintain. Before the ice blocks is being put into the vaccine, to the carrier, because something we thaw the blocks, because the vaccine have to maintain in a certain temperature, and that temperature is from +2 to 8, which when it loses that time, it will harm the vaccine, the potency of it. So we thaw it for it to reduce to a certain temperature before we pack the ice packs into the the vaccine carrier before we put in the vaccine. So those in the rural areas know that before this cold chain to be maintained, when you get to where even the site that you are jabbing, like what you are jabbing this particular ball, you take a sample from the vial. You don't wait till you jab before you come. The moment you take it from the vaccine at the carrier, and you draw your sample, you have to put it back and close it to maintain the temperature so that we don't break the cold chain. So this is what you talk about cold chain. From the manufacturer to the consumer, the level or the temperature has to be maintained in that order. Yes.
You made mention of rural areas and stuff. What do you mean? There's, especially where there is no light and stuff, there should be some challenges. But Abu, I want to know what are common challenges in maintaining a reliable cold chain, especially in the remote or rural areas that he made mention of.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that in the rural areas, specifically where there are no lights, what they do is that, just as you said, we look at the very close place or area that is very close to where your chips compound or your health facility is, that have those logistics, including the fridge and then the items we need in the EPI, so that you go to the national level or regional level, no, district level, get your consignment, I'm talking about if you are the CHIPS compound, there are a number of vaccines they can give you because you can't store them. So you pick your consignment, get to where they have those things that you think is so close to you, then hand over, document it and leave it with them. So that each morning or a day that you have your clinic, your CWC or your outreach, you go there with your vaccine carrier. They will thaw the ice packs and then they will make sure they will package it for you. Then you set off to where you are going. As you go to, you are able to work. But as the challenges you said, especially in the rural areas, what we can see there is that sometimes there are some areas where we call it hard to reach. Okay, it's hard to reach, especially during certain times of the year or in the year. You can't cross to their end. So if you want to go to outreach and I say there are water bodies or there are certain things that are flood, you can't go to them, and it means that you are leaving them, and it is a natural kind of something, and we try to go afterwards to go and do those things, even though there are challenges to us. I have been able to go for monitoring for some of these NIDs. We call them National Immunization Days. Sometimes you go, even motor cannot go there, motorbike cannot go there, you have to leave it. And those who know how to swim, and there are some of them, they have small canoes on them, you have to use it. So these are some of the things there. And sometimes my brother highlighted something, financial issues. You know, these vaccines we are speaking about, they are free.
Every vaccine is free.
Some of them, especially those are for the children, they are free. You know, when I was showing that it's also human papillomavirus, it's not free. The vaccine for human papillomavirus and the hepatitis B, and then the mumps and varicella, there are some group of them. They are for adults. They are not free. Yes. So the one that are for children, for them, they are free. Like the question you asked, that if someone is born today, how many vaccines today? Yeah, I said it's around 14 or 15, and it keeps coming. So all of them are for free. And then sometimes, because the government is committed to getting some of them, even though donors are there, they take the cost and other things. If a donor decides to withdraw their services today, what will happen? No, it's not an easy thing. Gavi and other partners, they are helping us, Africans and Ghana, to get some of these vaccines. Sometimes you want to get the vaccine and the vaccine is not coming. You understand? But if you have money to acquire it for your country, then these shortages they will not come. The what call missed children or missed population, you don't want them to happen. The vaccines should be there at all times so that if somebody's walking with the child should be able to get it. But if they come and they say, oh, check a crap, now if they go and they don't come, that challenge is not from the consumer, but it's from the system, from the hierarchy, and then that is how we don't want. Apart from that, I think, yes, for the rest, there are challenges, but we can easily manage them. Yeah.
But based on what you are saying, it means we have to maintain the cold chain system. We have to keep on maintaining it. So a developing country like Ghana, that we certainly have problems in maintaining this. You know, what are some of those significant challenges that we face in maintaining that cold chain system?
Oh, the challenge is that's what I'm saying. The system is such that sometimes you might need money to repair your fridge or your vaccine fridge that is spoiled. But you have to follow a lot of steps. So by the time you get the money to go and do it, then it means that it has spent so long. So in this case, what you can do is that if you have that challenge, you can only fill your cold box. It's a bit bigger than the ice packs. You line up the cold box with the ice packs. The vaccine carrier, the cold box is bigger than the vaccine carrier. So you line the cold box with the ice packs, okay? Then you offload all the vaccines into that cold box. Then the next thing to look out for is to see if there's a nearby place who have not fridge challenges or problems. Then you go there, hand your vaccines over to them, document it, and start going to pick them until you are able to get your fridge back. Or you do that and you write a report to the next level, informing them what has happened to your vaccine fridge. Then maybe if they have a reserve one sitting down, quickly they will move in because of the urgency, come and fix it for you while working on the other one. So these are some few challenges and then how we can address them. Because then apart from that, sometimes there are certain things, if you don't highlight them well, it might look like it is a partisan politics, but it's part of the job. We need to face it as such. Sometimes transportation to even go and acquire.
Yes, I was going to ask you. We have power failure, we have transportation issues, we have inadequate refrigeration. They all impact this vaccine efficacy. And the health of those populations.
Yeah, so they are all in there, and that is how come we are saying that if you are traveling and you want to actually measure your vaccine potency, you are traveling with your vaccines. It doesn't matter where you want to pick your vaccines. You get your vaccines, you get your aspice line in, then there is a fridge tag or a thermometer that will help you to measure if actually the temperature of the vaccine is running out from the normal range. You get it? Very good. So if you are able to get that done, then one, the vaccines are potent in that particular state. There's also something on the vaccine vial. We call it VVM. For a reason, you might not always get the fridge tag or the thermometer. The question is, maybe you have about 4 of them going to outreach from the same facility, but you don't have enough fridge tag. Some might get it and go with it. Others who don't get it, what we use to measure is what we call the VVM, the vaccine vial monitor. It is on any vaccine. Any vaccine has a vaccine vial monitor. And the vaccine vial monitor is there to measure how the vaccine has been exposed to heat. So it is a heat accumulator. So when the vaccine is exposed to heat, now the color begins to change from white to dark and then darker. So when it is brought fresh, the VVM is at the first stage. You could see the VVM very whitish. But once it's being exposed to heat, depending on what happens, yes, then it changes from the white to a bit darker. That is stage 2 like that. So if you are a professional on the field and you are working, if you look at the VVM, you're going to see that, there is changing from stage 1 to 2. Then what you can do is that just use the stage 2 one first before it moves to stage 3. When you get to stage 3, stage 4, you can't use it again. So that is why we have to also use that particular VVM to measure how the vaccines are being traveled from the potency stage to the stage where we can use it again.
Edmund, right?
Yeah, right.
I thought I'm wrong.
No, you're
right. Environment or climate also sometimes changes, right? But even before that, let me say, if you are to go to a village where there's no light, you have to cross a river and stuff to go and administer these things, and the vaccine doesn't get finished. What do you do? What happens to the rest?
Yes, thank you.
You throw them away, or what happens to the
Yes, as my brother was saying, he said VVM. This is what we use to measure after you return a vaccine. if it is being exposed and it can never be used again, we have to discard it.
Okay.
A record is taken and then we discard that one because there's no need for you to give it to somebody. Yes, it doesn't, it's like giving the person an
causing financial loss.
Yes, causing pain to the person without any reason.
Okay, a quick one. Let me add something more to that. There are some vaccines, we call it multi-dose vaccines. It means that they can be used at many or multiple sections. What I'm trying to say is that when you draw some today and you use it for, like we are injecting this small boy like this, and it has some left. Most of them, we have 20 doses in a vial. Some of them are 10. So if you go to meet less people than the number of doses in the vessel, the one that is left, you bring it back. Now when you bring it back, there are about 3 important things we look at to see if the vaccine is still potent and to be kept, like the VVM he mentioned. Then there's also a label on the vaccine. If that label is peeled off, you can't give it. We are saying that you can't give because if something happens, there is what we call AFI. If you give the vaccine to anyone, we expect that if the person go, whatever happens to the person after the person has taken the vaccination, she'll report back to you so that you'll be able to help him or her to address the issue. Because before the person came to you, he was fine. Two of us. So these are some of the things we do so that we get the people to understand that it is not something bad that we want for them, but we are doing the best as a public health to be able to improve and maintain and protect their health. You understand? So when we do that, then we put a lot of confidence in them. So if the person comes as an EFI, and then you are now tracing to go and look at the vaccine that you gave, so that you will document the details on the vaccine label has peeled away. So what do? You will not be able to account properly for some of the things. So that thing is there. And then if it is not so contaminated too, then we are able to say that let's maintain or keep it. There are some vaccines, when you open them today, especially the inactivated, some of them, the bacteria inactivated or killed ones, example in BCG, or those that we mix with aqua, those vaccines. If you open them, then you begin to time yourself. After 6 hours, you can't use it again.
So what is the expiration date for vaccine? Does it have?
Yes, it has an expiry date. It has expiry date. It depends. So when you go for your vaccines and you come, they are what we call vaccine ledger books. You document all these details there. The manufacturer, the date, the manufacturer, the expiry date, and then the name of the company who manufactured the vaccine. All these things are important because when there is a AFI, and of course a serious one, they will trace all these things to where the manufacturer is. Might be that it's a coincidence or it is anything that led to the AFI. But none of them is a very serious issue than the vaccine itself. If the vaccine itself is causing the problem, then it has to be withdrawn from the system. Because sometimes there are certain things like that. So you need to trace and look at it closely to see that you're actually putting confidence in the people and you are helping them rather than. So even if the issues keep escalating like that, then the opposition who have theories against vaccination will get upper hand. So we don't like it that way. So we are very careful about it. And then we need to actually know where it's coming from. Then we take it out.
So Eddie, I was about to ask you a question and I brought in this. I was going to ask about the climate change and other environmental factors. How do these things impact the effectiveness of the cold chain system, and what can be done to mitigate this effect?
Thank you very much. If you look at our system, let's say the climate system, we have Ghana, we have so sandy weather, the rainy season, and so on. So when it happens like that, as you said, somebody taking the vaccine carrier, going to a rural area, and it's a sunny weather. It means the temperature outside can influence the walls of the vaccine carrier, which will definitely affect the duration of the ice or the temperature, which will keep the vaccine at a particular time for him to return or her to return. So when it happens like that, if you are going for a far area, you can use only one ice thing to keep the vaccine to maintain its temperature. So you have to go extra ice cubes to help to maintain the ice. Another one, when you go to a place like weather condition like raining, and then you are happens to go there, especially when you go to the farm areas and then there's flood or there's huge rain, and then the rivers have rise to its level, above its level. It means that day people cannot go there to minister vaccines. So there will be challenge on that. Now, if we take our temperate area, those outside, they have the hurricane and so on with them. So sometimes when these things happens to them, they also have challenge with like the weather. If the vaccines happen to be exposed to all these climatic weathers, the colors, it said, the color of it can change. It can also even affect the sample inside. So it will not be viable for us to use for people, for them to get this protection. So these things really helping.
Do you want to add something concerning the climate change and how we can
mitigate? Okay, climate change, like I think during certain sections of the year, we have Hamatan. We have during this time temperatures always spike. Ghana meteorology will come and tell you that maybe Cape Coast, your temperature is around. It affects almost everything, including the vaccines or our cold chain. So, like he said, in this case, if you are traveling with vaccines, you need to actually prepare so well, and then you look at how the number of days you spend or the number of times you spend there. Like I was saying, if you are going with vaccines that you can just give and discard, no problem. If the time is due, you discard them. But if you're going with some of those that you have to bring and use for the second time, then you prepare yourself so well and you come with it. And yeah, I think that's what I can add. Yeah.
You know, most of us do not even know the coaching system.
Yeah.
We don't. I'm telling you, we don't
Yeah.
know. So let me ask you, what role does education play in ensuring that both healthcare workers and the general public understand the importance of the coaching system?
Okay. Let me say that it's better they also get to know that the vaccines we give it to them, that is helping them, is being maintained under something called coaching. My brother has already described how the coaching is. Yes. Right from the manufacturer to the consumer, you might monitor to see that. Even though there are some vaccines, they can stay below -8 and all those. They are parts of the vaccines. But it depends on whichever organism they use for that particular disease. And if you pick a vaccine, there are also other components. I will use the opportunity to explain this picture.
Okay.
So the other component, we have adjuvant, we have stabilizer, we have a lot of components, but let me limit myself to this. Everything has what it does for the child. So when you look at this picture we are seeing on the screen, all the vaccines must be given at the right size and at the right angle so that it can work. The manufacturer has stated that put it at the subcutaneous. It is there that the antibody titer formation will be elicited and produced the better. So in this case, if you go to give that particular vaccine intramuscular or intradermal, you have not helped the individual.
What is that? Intramuscular, intradermal? What is
So what we are seeing on the screen is intramuscular. It's
Intradermal,
subcutaneous. Subcutaneous means that you have to deposit the vaccine on the deltoid muscle. There's what we call deltoid muscle. So if you deposit this thing on it, then it will be able to work well. So when you go Nente, you will go beyond the deltoid muscle to another level.
Straight.
Yeah, intramuscular means 90, but this one is 45, so we call it subcutaneous.
The 45, is it the hand or the
needle?
The angle of the needle.
The angle of the needle
okay.
is going 45.
Okay.
When the tense, okay, move to the next one, and let me see if we have the intramuscular type.
All right. Okay.
Sometimes the side too matters, but someone can come without that hand, but we still have to give it to you. So I will not highlight much there. But if you have the upper limbs and the lower limbs, then you have to look at the angle it should go, so that you are able to. So like this one, this is the intramuscular one. This is the intramuscular one. You can see that the needle has gone straight, and that is the 90 degrees. And then he's taking the jab, and that is how that particular vaccine will work well. Okay. So move to another one, and let's see what is there. Okay. So this one is intradermal. The BCG, it is only BCG we give intradermally. So when you deposit the BCG vaccine under the skin, it's able to work well. Now, all of you, if you go home or if you take off your shirt and look at your arm, you will realize that there's a mark there. Some of us have those marks there.
If you don't have it's on your left or right?
It's left. Right. It's right there. Yeah, you can see it there. A scar must be formed there, especially
Is it compulsory?
Yes, sometimes those who take their own outside Ghana, most of them that I have interacted does not often show the scar. Probably it depends on certain factors that I personally am not privy to. Probably will work on it to see why it is like that. But all those we take in Africa, in Ghana and in Cape Coast here too, we think that for it to be able to work well, there must be. You see, the way you give it, whether you like it or not, the scar will come. We are depositing it on under the skin straight, so you see it forming like a nodule. Then certainly it will burst after some few days. So if it bursts after some few days, that leaves the scar. But if you don't give it intradermal, then you enter beyond the intradermal. It means that thing will not form.
Okay.
You understand? So probably this is how the dynamics around it. If you don't give it the right angle and at the right side, it also influences how you build your immune system on it. You get it? So that is how I said. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. You have. Right. But you see, vaccine and Kasayan trusts.
Yes.
The Republic don't trust. That's why you have a lot of people kicking against it.
Yeah.
So how can we, improve public trust in vaccines and the vaccination process, especially regarding the importance of proper storage and handling?
Okay.
Yes, okay. I think it all bounces back to the cold chain. If you break the cold chain, that means the potency of the vaccine loses its effectiveness. So anytime that you give a vaccine to a patient or a client who the vaccine has lost its potency, it means you are just giving you are introducing pain like water. Nothing is going to help the person. So you are telling the person, I'm giving you a vaccine for you not to expose to diseases, or when you even exposed to a disease, it will not affect you. Now you are giving the vaccine to somebody. The person go, and then the person come with the same kind of disease that you said you have protected the person from. It means the person will not have trust in whatever you are giving to the person anymore. That's why we have emphatically on the cold chain, because if anything breaks and it loses its potency, and we give, it means the trust will not be there. Yes.
And we also measure the if, how the cold chain works, we measure it by what we call surveillance data analysis.
Okay.
Me, like this, I'm a disease control officer, so I conduct surveillance on VPDs and other diseases. Okay, so if my surveillance data is telling me that I'm having more number of cases that are VPDs or vaccine preventable diseases, then it is drawing my attention to the fact that the cold chain has a problem, and that problem should be quickly dealt with. Because if you are saying you are giving the vaccine to make sure that people will not get the diseases, and yet when you go on the field to search for cases, they are the cases you are getting the more, it means there's a problem with the cold chain. Now the cold chain we are talking about is not limited to the physical logistics, like the vaccine fridge alone, but there are expertise, technical skills that you need to be able to make the cold chain work. Okay. Even the cold chain, if you have the fridge and you don't know how to position the fridge in whatever form, it means that you have not helped the cold chain system at all. There are certain...
Is it fridge or freezer?
There's a... Okay, our fridge has different compartments.
Okay.
The freezer...
It's not normal fridge that we
No.
Oh, okay.
The freezer is where we store the we keep the ice packs to freeze them.
Okay.
So that if any emergency, we are able to work with them. Okay. We also use some of them to thaw and then use our vaccines during our cleaning days or our treat times. Yeah, so all these things are the technical aspect that you need to know to make sure that the cold chain system works efficiently. There are some vaccines I have highlighted that you have to mix them with aqua. Others are also such that I think it has left with one of my pictures. It didn't come. This too is intramuscular and it is going for the thigh. Not all the vaccines are being given at the upper limbs. Some of them also go for the thigh. And mostly the thigh ones are intramuscular. It has to go 90 degrees. There's another picture that needs to come.
I think so.
There's another picture. Let me quickly highlight it. Those that we mix with aqua or water, for them, you don't also keep the water in the fridge as you can keep the other vaccines. You get it? And those vaccines, okay, this is what I wanted. Thank you. And it is not all the vaccines that you have to use needle and syringe to push through the skin. Others too, like the OPV, you can take it orally. Then, like say, let me not complicate it, but there is what we call vitamin A. That one too, you give it orally like this. Okay, they're all vaccines to help you build immunity against
We also
disease.
learned that cholera also has these oral vaccines.
Honestly speaking, since I started disease control, I have come to hear that there is cholera vaccine, but not in Africa.
Okay.
But in outside Africa or somewhere. So I personally, maybe on paper that I have seen, but I have not seen it like the ones I'm practicing with.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
Yeah, so for cholera vaccines, I can't say much about
All right.
it.
So our time is drawing closer.
Okay.
My last question is, looking ahead, Eddie, how do you see the evolution of the cold chain system and vaccine distribution over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Yes, as my brother said, based on the surveillance that we have been doing alongside with the vaccines, it gives us and draw our attention that our vaccines are being potent. Now, vaccines that we are introducing to the system in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, we want it to be like those that have been eradicated will be moved away from the system, and those that is even eliminating right now will be eradicated. And then those that we are controlling will come into the system where we can eradicate them at the next 10 years, so that if our vaccines work potently, as we are saying, all diseases will come down. People will not be exposed to these diseases.
All right. In the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, so that is what he just said. I think that per our surveillance data, I've already mentioned that there are some diseases that we are hearing their name, but you can't see some again. And it is because of these interventions.
Right.
So its implementation is the most important.
Yeah.
If you start the implementation as an intervention, you don't need to start and stop. Now, we don't have something to show graphs and other things, but if you start an intervention and you stop, you come back to your peak. You understand? Because me and you have gotten all the vaccines that we need. So if there is an interruption in vaccination, and for a period like 1 year or 2 years, we've not gotten the same intervention. It means that those that will be born into the system will be a different group of people together because they will not get what we have gotten. You understand? In terms of vaccination. And so within this time till some time, like maybe I can't mention 10 years or 100 years, by the time will come, some of the diseases that we are discussing right now, another group of people will also discuss different group of diseases, and they will say, okay, maybe during 2009 they said there was a pandemic that hurt the world, and COVID-19 also came to Ghana. Yeah, then it will be a story, but you will not see some for yourself.
Okay, so Eddie, we are leaving. So I want you to, what message do you have? Would you like to leave, our viewers with about the importance of protecting children and vulnerable population from preventable diseases?
Yes. Viewers, we thank you. What you say about it is that we've talked about the cold chain and our vaccine preventable diseases. Right now, we want everybody to have trust in the healthcare system. Come into the healthcare system, they have beliefs in our vaccine that we are giving. Because of these vaccines, that's why most of us are still healthy. Because the disease around us, you will not see them with our naked eyes. But because of the vaccines, we are being shielded from all these diseases. So people should allow their children or any form of vaccine that comes out to protect a particular disease, we should all go for the jab so that you'll be safe.
Yeah, so the same way, I'm trying to say some of them are there, they've already exposed to those informations like the conspiracy theories I've already mentioned, and it is eating them up. And it is because majority of the people in the community, they have been protected, and that number of people that are protecting the few who are for any reason not taking the vaccination. And so they think so, but if you have a large population taking the vaccination, it is able to protect the little ones who are using other means or other things to avoid the vaccination. So we are saying that those theories, they don't have any scientific backing. Some people have religious beliefs that they won't take it. Yes, they are there. But those of us who are being consumed by those conspiracy theories, I'm here today to tell them, not because I know much about the disease, but I'm trying to say that even a layman will know that those things they are saying, it doesn't work and it is not there. So they should come and receive the vaccine. It is there, it is free, nowhere, especially for the children. For adults, we have taken it already, so you don't need to take it again. It's there are the new ones, and then even the popular ones that are not for free. Some of them, you have them already, but for traveling purposes, they are saying that come with an evidence to show that you have taken it, and you have to go and do all those things. And even with that, we have a protocol we do for you, and it is helping you that way. So everybody should have a confidence in the system, and then make sure that when you go and something happens to you, wherever you took the vaccine, even if it is far away from you, go to a nearby and complain, and then we'll sort it out.
All right, viewers, this is where time will allow us to be with you. Abu Kwabena is a senior disease control officer from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, and also Edmond Champong, also health promotion officer from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Gentlemen, thank you for making time to come and teach us all these things. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Kojo. At the same time next week. Bye. Bye-bye.